So as you can see, I have a 2016 Honda Fit, and I installed these LED lights. As you can see, as like most of you, you've probably gone to a lot of these websites and they try to show you how to install the lights, but technically they only show you how to put them on, but they really don't show you how to install them or wire them really. So basically I'm going to do a short little walkthrough of how I installed these lights. Unfortunately, at the time I installed these, I wasn't really planning on filming a video, and what I did is I kind of did a walkthrough and kind of to see how I was going to plan my attack of installing these. And well, at the time, since I had everything taken apart, I decided to simply install them. So basically I'm going to do a small little walkthrough for you guys. So open up the hatch here, and as you notice on most of them, there are two bolts that have to be removed to take this lens off. So what I did in my case, I removed these two bolts, and once you remove these tail lights, you'll find a hole which is already pre-drilled right in this location, right underneath here, and there is a plastic grommet which made it really easy for me to run my wires through. And then once I pulled that grommet, I ran the wires through that hole, and basically you end up coming out roughly in this area right here. And then what you'll have to do is remove this top panel, and you'll find a snap here, and I believe there is one here, and then there are several here in the centers. The one in the centers are a little difficult to get to, but using a long screwdriver I was able to snap them off. Not snap them off, but just unsnap them so that I can remove the panel. And after that, it was fairly easy. And to remove this panel, all you have to do is simply pull down on this corner. It's kind of hard to do with one hand, but basically you want to just grab it here, pull down on this section, and again I pulled it far enough where I can get my hand in there and get a screwdriver and pry this one off. And you do the same thing over on this side. You pull them off, and again the center ones are a little more difficult to get to, or not difficult to get to, but to unsnap them. And I recommend a long screwdriver or so to just kind of pry them open. And that's about it for this part. And as I mentioned earlier, all you have to do is pull down on this corner here to pull down the panel, and you'll unsnap these screws here, or snaps if you want to call them. Do it over here, and then once you come over here, this section over here, I found it to be a little hard, so again I grabbed a flat tip screwdriver, a long one. Have to excuse me there, I live on a very busy street, and Sunday is a popular day for cruising around here. But anyways, you want to reach in there, grab a large flat tip screwdriver, and there is a snap roughly in this area. Same again, goes all over on this side, center ones again. Now as you can see, I removed the rear panel, and this is what pretty much it looks like. And so what I did in my case, again, once I removed the stock LEDs, I replaced the new ones, ran my wire through this pre-drilled hole. Again, there is a grommet that looks somewhat like this one. And what I did is I drilled a hole in the center, then I got a razor blade and cut it, then ran my wires through it. So, and again, it will come out in this section here, and what I did is I ran the wires and came out this way. Then I ran the wires this way all along here, did them on both sides, and then what I did, I spliced them together. And then what I did, the black wire, I grounded it to the rear windshield wiper motor, which you can see here. This I will replace with a better attachment, but you get the idea. The black wire goes to your ground, and then the white wire will go to your I guess you would call it the running lights. And what I did is I tapped it into the license plates light, and what I did is the gray wire is your wire you want to tap into, and what I did is I used what is called a T-tap, and basically what it is, it's a little clamp that wraps around the wires. You squeeze it, clamp the wires, and put the fitting on. So now that runs for your wire, for your running lights, and we have your ground. Now what leaves us now is the red wire, which is the brake light. So what I did is I ran the red wire, ran it this way, ran it down this area here, ran it to this area here, ran it down to this section here, which I ended up coming up to this grommet here. You'll find a wiring harness, and as you see, here's the red wire that I ran. From here I ran the wire down, and I had planned on running it down to my brake light, which is here. Now this was pretty much the hardest part to do. Trying to snake that wire through down here was kind of difficult. So what I ended up doing is popping off this panel here, and it easily, again, just easily pull on it and it snaps, and I only opened it far enough to get my hand in there and kind of fish the wire down in this section. And then what I did is I tapped into the brake light, and by doing that, so you have to remove these two bolts here, or screws, with whatever you want to call them, and the tail light simply comes off. Now the brake light is on the top half, so what I did is, you'll see the wire harness. I took the wire harness off, and the wire you want to tap into will be a green wire, which is most likely like a avocado color. So again, this is on a 2016 Honda Fit. I'm not sure if all the wire harnesses are the same, but I'm pretty sure they are on the older models. So basically, that's the short end of it. It took me about an hour to do or so, but again, you want to feed the red wire down to your brake light, tap into the green wire, which happens to be, I don't see it here, but I tapped into a different harness. So this one goes up to the brake light and the motors, or windshield wiper motor and such, and the third brake light. So down here you have a separate wiring harness down here, which is located down here, and to be honest with you, it's a little difficult to get to, and what I used was a stiff wire, and I kind of fished the wire through to get down here. There is another wire harness that goes to the brake light. Again, you have to fish the wire through there, and I tapped into the green wire, or kind of avocado color wire. So I think that's pretty much it. Now in my case, I chose, again, I tie wrapped everything, cover everything in black tape. Now the hardest part that took me a while to do is this molding here, rubber molding that goes on the comes from the rear window. That I had the most problems with. I wanted to give it a OEM look. When you install these, this rubber molding tends to fall inside. Having it up like this, it prevents from water from getting inside. So if you don't do it correctly, and the plastic grommet that is underneath here, you may get water that goes inside your door. Now, another problem I had when installing this, my car comes with a spoiler, so you'll have an issue here. I had a problem trying to take the lamps off, and it did scratch up my paint a little, but that's the only issue I had. And again, the hardest problem I had was this rubber molding, and how I fixed this. Before I tightened down the screws, I ran another wire underneath this rubber molding, and I left the wires hanging out here and up on top. And then once I secured the lamp down, I pulled the wire, and what it does, it flips this rubber molding up. So you got to do it really carefully, otherwise you'll tear this. Another issue I had, I'm not sure if it's just on my model or whatever, I found that these screws were longer than this bolt. I could not get it to screw down and tighten down, so I had to add a washer, and I use a washer that's backed with a rubber washer. Let's see, what else could I think of that might help you guys out. Again, installing the lights is straightforward. Run the wire down here again, comes out, and again, tap into your ground wire here to the motor, tap into the gray wire on your brake light or the license plate light, run the red wire down here, fish down, come down here to your brake light, which again is the green wire. And I think that's pretty much it. And I guess maybe the next thing you want to see is how they work, huh? Installation of the panel, again, it just snaps in here. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's quite a few here, but there's about 6 or I'd say about 8 snaps you have to do. And again, these ones in the center are a little difficult to get to. I had to get a pry wire or a screwdriver and kind of pry it, but other than that, I think it's pretty much straightforward. So good luck, and hope you enjoy this video. Thank you. Here is the hatch closed, and I'll give you an idea what the tail lights look like by pressing the remote here. It just kind of gives you a general idea how it looks. I currently don't have a night shot, but I'm sure if you look at some of the other websites or some of the other videos, they'll show you a photo of them, what they look like during night. So hope this video was helpful for you. So good luck, and enjoy your new tail lights.